What is happening, YouTube? Welcome back. So today we have a different video than what I normally do. We have a dexterity weapon ranking video. So quickly, spoiler warning, I'm showcasing a new armor set. I'm showcasing one of the starting areas. It's an enemy camp. I won't be opening the map at all. And then obviously the 5 weapons, the dexterity weapons. So if you are looking for any dexterity weapon recommendations, these are mine. Keep in mind, this is my opinion, my personal preference. This is what I enjoyed in my time with the DLC. So it's not set in stone, but I recommend that you try them out. So first up, we are starting with the Fals. So, nice thing about the Fals, if you pick it up, you have a 2-for-1 combo. So you don't need to collect 2 of them to have 2 of them. It has the standard curve sword move set. Very good move set. Its Ash of War is a very quick double slash that has a little double hit in there as well. So very nice. Unfortunately, it cannot be buffed like the Bloodhound's Fang, for example, but this is still a very reliable weapon. It is one of my favorite weapons. Oh boy, look at how hard this guy is. Crazy how hard enemies hit in the DLC. Plus I'm on New Game Plus 3, so yeah. Fals, very reliable weapon. Don't let my skills when showcasing the weapon affect your opinion of said weapons. But like I said, very reliable, kills very quickly, and that's going to be a theme with this tier list. Most of the weapons have the same qualities, if I can put it that way. They hit incredibly quickly, not necessarily very hard, but you know, they get the job done at a very respectable pace. And this was not a weapon I thought I would enjoy as much as I do. I mean, even these guys buffing each other aren't really getting their cells protected all that much, because you hit past the little bubbles and you end up hurting them before they get to put up their bubble again. So very reliable weapon. I enjoy this very much. So definitely give the Fals a try, and then we'll continue on to the next one. Up, we have a weapon that had to grow on me a little bit, because I was not the biggest fan of this one when I started using it in the beginning of the DLC, but this weapon quickly became one of my favorites, and that is the Great Katana. This thing attacks very fast. It has the range of most colossal swords. As you can see there, this thing absolutely towers over my character. And it has a very strong moveset. It has this running stab on the light attack. It has a vertical slash, a stab, and a sweep, which is obviously, you know, you have a great combination of movesets. Look at me dying here while trying to record this. And oh boy, look at how hard that guy hits, eh? One combo and almost my entire health bar is gone. But I have to say, I am playing on multiple New Game Pluses, so that is another factor. But anyway, back into the weapons perks, is this weapon can be infused with any Ash of War and any element, which is obviously a great aspect of it, and I personally like Called the most in the DLC. Not a big fan of it in the base game, but in the DLC, very useful, because the more damage you can put out, the better, trust me. And that is going to be a big factor with most of your decisions that you make regarding the DLC. And this weapon is basically strength, but for dex. Very nice. It is the strength weapon for dex dexterity builds, and it is a weapon that does not disappoint in the slightest. Let me just heal up here before I die again. And its range is really something, as you can see there, with the Ash of War helping me out a little bit. You can cleave through enemies with this weapon, very good. So, great weapon, highly recommended. Right, and heading into the top 3 we have Mady on deck. Now Mady is a new weapon category, same as the Great Katana, which I probably should have mentioned. But Mady is a phenomenal weapon. It's one of the only light greatswords in the game. There aren't many of them. And she is the best, in my opinion. You can infuse her with any Ash of War. I personally like Called, as with this, it's a main theme with this tier list is I like the Called infusion in the DLC. But Mady has a very strong moveset. She has this weird double slash thing going on with the heavy attack, and its light attacks are very similar to that of a I would almost say rapier mixed with a short sword. It has that feeling. It is a very elegant weapon, and they have a very unique Ash of War that only basically only this weapon can have, is with a nice little heavy attack input there. You have this jumping poke attack which covers quite a lot of distance, and then you have this flurry slashing type of variant there. Let me just showcase that. There we go. And like I said, with the speed of this weapon, the speed at which Mady attacks, you are set to basically not ever want to use a different weapon again, because this is just a phenomenal weapon. And I'm a strength guy. I really don't gush on dex weapons normally, but they did a fantastic job with most of the dexterity weapons in the DLC, which is just very good to see. I enjoy the dex weapons very much. And heading on to number 2. Alright, next up we have the Backand Blade on deck, and this weapon is absolutely insane. You also get your 2-for-1 special with this one. And this weapon has an insanely fast moveset. I mean, let me just look at it. Very quick. I cannot overstate how quick this weapon is. It has a unique Ash of War that only this weapon can get, or this category of weapon I should say, is the blind spot stab, where you can hop into the side of an enemy and hit them in basically a weak point, and then you also have this lovely little dash, which is very good on groups of enemies and very good to proc status effects, because in my testing it seemed that little phantom flash you see happening there in the background works to apply the status effect as well. You can bleed or frost, frost, fire, whatever you want to use, works phenomenal with this weapon. I wouldn't use stuff like lightning or holy. Frost and bleed are probably the most useful when it comes to this weapon, and like I said, this weapon absolutely shreds through mobs of enemies very easily. You can spam the Ash of War because the Ash of War is very cheap. You can use it to close the distance very quickly on your enemies, and basically win every encounter, because you can really mess stuff up. So, very good weapon. Unfortunately, it does bounce off bigger shields like most dexterity weapons, but you can quickly recover and get back into the action with this thing. Very solid weapon. Highly recommend. Alright, up at number 1 we have the Claws of Night. Now, the Claws of Night, claw weapon, obviously. It is a very, very fast attacking weapon. For some reason, this weapon kills much faster than any of the other Dex weapons that I have on this list. Well, I wouldn't say much faster, but it kills faster. It just seems to me that way. And, you know, I am not a claw guy at all. I did not enjoy the claw weapons in the base game. Not even the slightest. Never tried to use them again after using them the first time. And I think it was the range lacking, because this thing has more range than them. Not much more, but it does have more, enough to make up for it being a close range weapon. It cannot be buffed, because it is a special weapon. It requires Somber Stones to upgrade, and its Ash of War is kind of meh. It gives you a relatively nice ranged option, but I wouldn't count on it for damage, but it would help you out in a sense. But as you can see there, this just kills absolutely quickly, and I am on New Game Plus 3, so the scaling on these enemies and the damage they do to me, as you can see, is insane. So that's why I feel this area was the best to showcase, even on New Game Plus 3. So definitely a very good weapon, a very solid weapon. I would recommend it for anyone looking for a proper dexterity weapon in the DLC. Any of these weapons are great, but this is my go-to recommendation. So let's just slash through a bunch of these enemies just to showcase the weapon a little bit more. And it's crazy, and I'm a strength nut. I enjoy swinging a big lump of either steel or wood or bone towards my enemies and seeing them topple under the weight of that weapon. However, the dexterity weapons, I found myself experimenting a lot more with dex weapons in the DLC, and it's not something I normally did. If you watched my Dark Souls playthrough, I am not a dexterity person in the slightest. I enjoy strength weapons very much. They are my go-to, and they always will be. Oh, look at this man from the side. Oh, I might die here. I've died many times recording the footage you guys see here, so the DLC is rough, man. But yeah, Claws of Night, a very solid weapon, very strong, very fast, and kills things insanely quickly. And it also has a nice bleed build-up of 45. Procs bleed incredibly quickly because of the pace at which it attacks. So highly recommend this weapon. Alright, and now for an honorable mention, because I didn't want to leave this bad boy out of my video. We have the Spear of the Impaler. Now, the reason this one didn't make the cut is because even though it has an insanely strong Ash of War, if you can get off this entire combo, you will melt things health bombs. Really, really strong Ash of War. Probably one of the strongest we've seen. Well, at least in my experience. It has a very, very good moveset. Has your standard Great Spear moveset, which is nice. The heavy attack is a nice projectile, and if you charge it, you get more damage. And you know, it's not the strongest heavy attack, not by any means. You can probably do better with most other spears' heavy attacks, but this gives it a very nice ranged option, and you can use it while mounted on Torrent. Let me just demonstrate that real quick, because this is absolutely silly. If you don't want to struggle with a boss or the tree sentinel ever again, you can just chuck things from your horse. Look at it. And it has the charged version has like a little magma effect it leaves behind, a little fiery effect it leaves behind. So all in all, a very solid weapon. Now the reason I did not include this weapon in my top 5 is because firstly the others outperform it in my opinion and in my experience. But also its Ash of War, although very, very strong, you can get knocked out of it very quickly. You have almost no hyper armor when dealing the Ash of War. I mean, your initial attack, this one, has probably the most hyper armor, but the rest of the combo is insanely difficult to get off. Most of the time you will hit or miss your attack on a faster, more nimble target. Say if you tackle Millennia for instance, it is very unlikely we'll get off the entire combo against certain bosses. Big enemies, definitely very strong weapon, but you know, you don't have much hyper armor or poise using this weapon. But it is definitely worth mentioning because it is one of the most busted weapons in the DLC. I believe so. Many people don't like it, from what I've heard, but it is absolutely nuts weapon. Very, very ridiculously strong. So do with that what you will. That is my honorable mention. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite Dex weapon and how you would rank the Dex weapons in the DLC. Stay tuned for more. I'll be bringing out a strength, int and faith based weapons as well as hybrid weapons. I did want to make only like a top 10 or top 5 weapons list, but there are so many great weapons in the DLC it was impossible to narrow it all down to a top 10 or top 5 list. So I'm doing them in categories. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out small channels like mine. I would love to do this professionally. And yeah, may God bless you all. Stay safe. And we'll see you in the next one.